Everybody, thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to share with you a project I have made using the beautiful products from babycraft.com, and as you can see, these are two lovely candelabras I've put together as Christmas projects for my Christmas decorations. I have used many of the lovely things from babycraft.com. I have used the wonderful 4mm silver rhinestone chain all over both of them on both sides. The reverse side on the candelabras is exactly the same as the front side. I've also used the lovely cabochons from babycraft.com. I've also used the faux silver leafing from babycraft.com, and also the beautiful jeweled stickers, the crystal stickers from Babycraft. And I added some beautiful drop crystals that I was previously sent from Babycraft as well, and I think they have turned out really lovely. I'm excited to have them as part of my Christmas decorations this year. I've made them in the colours that I mainly use year in, year out, so it has music paper background and it's silvers and whites, vintage looking, and there we go. I was very fortunate to find these two candelabras. They are made out of MDF and they are by Craft. I'm not sure if they're still being sold, but I was very fortunate to find them when I did. So this is just another little look at them. They're a little bit hard to film because they're so tall, and I will put on the screen how tall they are exactly. And I hope you enjoy my little tutorial. It might be a little bit long, hopefully not too long, of my beautiful crystal candelabras. Take care now. Bye-bye. Okay, so I'm starting off with my actual candelabra pieces, which are these two pieces here, and this is what they look like. These are by Craft, and I don't know if they actually sell them anymore, but I was lucky enough to find one a few years ago now at the op shop, and another one on eBay earlier this year before I had my craft room. So because I knew I always wanted two, and I didn't want to do the first one before I found a second one. There's a slight flaw in it there, but that shouldn't matter. So the first thing I want to do is trace around my template before I do any painting, so that I've got my paper cut size. And I'm just using music paper here, and I'm going to line it up like that, getting the bottom piece here with the bottom music note so I know where I am, and probably getting all of at least one side on the music paper. Then I'll have to cut a separate piece for this, and all I do is trace around. Now when you trace around something, the outline will be bigger than the actual template, so when you're cutting it out, try and cut on the inside of the line that you've made. And I'm just taking it to the edge there, and then I'm putting a mark on my candelabra so that I know, I need to make a piece for this, and like I will probably make a piece from here as well. I'll probably make a whole piece actually for I think I will. I might take it to there. So if I do it to there, then that whole piece there and there can be on a separate piece of music paper. So I'll just go around and finish this off, and then I'll be back once I've done all the pieces. So I've traced around that, but what I want to do before I even attempt to cut that out is put another sheet behind it so that I can cut the front and the back at the same time. So that goes on there like that, but when I cut it out, oops, I've missed a bit, haven't I? When I cut it out, I'll cut the front and the back at the same time. So make sure your paper is doubled over. Miss this little bit here. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to do this little edge piece. And there we have another double sheet here we can use. What I'm going to do is see how that bottom part there comes down to that second music bar. I'm going to line this up here with that second music bar as well, just so that when I glue it all on, it kind of matches up a bit. So I'll do that, but I'm going to do just a little bit over so that I can overlap it a little bit. My pencil needs sharpening. And what I mean, the line is there, but I'm going to take it over to a little bit further, just so that I can overlap it when I glue it on. There. Okay, so we'll just... So that's that piece, and then we want to do this piece here, and we want two pieces of that as well. So I'll just put that up here. I also have to do from about... do it from there. I also have to do from there as well, so that should fit on this same piece of paper, which is nice. Okay, so I'll trace around this, and I will trace around the base of that, and then alright, they're all traced around now, and they just need cutting out. And what I thought is these two pieces, easy enough, cut them out with a pair of scissors, but these ones with the more intricate pieces, I may use a craft knife for cutting around those, just so it's a little bit easier. I think it would be quicker that way than actually using scissors on them. So, but before I do that, I'm just going to paint the edges of the pieces, so I don't have to worry about it afterwards. And it doesn't have to be neat and tidy or anything like that, because I'm covering it with paper. So just as long as the edges are all covered and a little bit over, perhaps. May need 1 or 2 coats depending on the paint you're using and how absorbent this is. Now, I know not everybody can probably get one of these candelabras, but for any MDF kind of project, you can use the same techniques. Like if you've got a Christmas tree and you want to decorate it in this way, it gives you an idea of what to do. I'm sure there's other ways as well that you can do things. So, okay. And I don't need to do inside there because that will be slotted into the other piece, and we don't want to build that up because it needs to be able to slot in there nice and easily. So I'm going to go ahead and paint all the edges of my painting. I have noticed while I was painting this that part where that bump is there, it's actually a very weak spot. I feel like it's been cracked. Can you see that just there? It's very loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rip a bit of this paper and I think wrap it a bit just to make it a little bit stronger there, because I don't want it breaking on me, and they can break with too much pressure, as I learnt from the chandelier I made. So I'm just going to paper mache some paper over that area before I carry on. As best I can anyway, and that won't be noticeable. And so hopefully when that dries, that will strengthen that area. And when that dries, I'll put another piece. Probably, I might double thickness that little piece there as well. Okay. Once that dries, I'll do the same on the back. So I have painted all the edges. I did give them 2 coats. You could even give them 3 if you wanted, but I'm stopping at 2. That gives it nice coverage. And that is all dry now, so that reassures me that it's going to be okay. And now I have cut all my pieces out, and I used a combination of scissors and the scalpel. I need to put the lid back on that. So that was very helpful. And this is first time I've lined it up, so it may be just a little bit bigger than the actual wood, but that's okay because we can fix that once it's on. And that's how it's going to go. I've got a little bit up there to put on the top here. It needs to be like that. And so all I'm going to do now is put glue on the wooden piece and glue my pieces on both front and back, and then I'll be back. And for this I'm just using my own gesso that I've made and just gluing it on. But what I wanted to show you, and it's a clear gesso, but it works just like glue. I'm really happy with the way it works on everything, so I use it for all sorts. We're going to overlay, we're going to overlap, sorry. overlap it there. So line it up like that. And I think I used the wrong one actually. I think I was meant to use that one. Yeah, so that one. Yes, that one's going to line up, so we're going to gently take that off and put it over there and put this one on, because this one is the one I think it just matches up a little bit closer, I think. Yeah, it matches up a little bit better than the other one. That's okay. You're not going to see a lot of that anyway. This is just the base. So I have done that. I might just put that on the other side now before it dries too much. I don't know if you can hear my son in the background. It's Sunday here, so he's home talking to his friends and things. So yeah, that one will be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it all to this side. Okay, so all the paper is on and the paper is dry now on both pieces. Now the next step is a little bit messy, and that is just to go around and sand the edges gently. You don't want to do it too hard. Just to, if you go in a, whoops, in a downward motion, it'll just tidy all the edges up, and it won't, hopefully, take it down to wood. There will be a few fiddly spots like in here, but I'm covering that up anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. But these parts here and this part here can be a little fiddly, so just take your time and do it in like a long, smooth motion, and you can see how that's sort of got it down. Or use a circular file. I think my husband's got one of those. I might ask him if I can use that. But the fiddly spots are always a little bit harder. Or you could even, and I don't know if I've got any here. I've got it. I don't really have much. I've got this really old piece of sandpaper. You could perhaps roll it up like that. Maybe put it inside a pencil inside of it. I wonder if that might help. If we went like that. I don't think it needs the pencil, to be honest. I think that might work, and just that works. It's a slow process, but it works. You could even just go like that a bit, and that does the job. That's easy enough, isn't it? Lovely. And then just tidy it up. Don't worry too much if you take a little bit of paint or anything off, because I'm going to paint my edges anyway. I've just noticed there's a pencil mark there still, so I want to get that off. Not that it's that noticeable, but I will notice it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is going to go all the way around and tidy up all the edges And once I've done that, I will be back. Once that's done and you've taken all the edges off, it's probably a good idea to go around and just check, see how that lifts a little bit on that corner. Sometimes you might get things loose as you sand them, so it's a good idea to just go around and check all the little corners and things and glue them down if they come up a little bit. See some, it's usually the pointy corners that might tend to come up a little bit when you've sanded them, and it doesn't take much just to put a little bit of glue in there. So I'm going to go and see that one's come up. I'm just going to go and put a little bit more glue under the parts that need it, and then I will be back. The next thing I'm going to do is just put a little bit of paint around my edges just to soften the look. I don't want it to look like just the edge of the paper. All I'm going to do is, don't put too much on your brush, but just go ahead and, well, this is what I'm doing anyway. Go like that, and it doesn't have to be neat and tidy because it kind of gives it that wispy, snowy kind of look. Not that I get snow here, but you know what I mean. And I really hope the angle that I'm filming on is much better for you. I did get my camera arm the other day, so this is the first time I've had it on video, so it'll be interesting to see if it is a little bit better and that I don't get out of shot quite so much. I don't really want that chunky there actually, but around here I want to see that I've got some paint on those corners, and that will also disguise any edges where you may have taken the paint off a little bit. And I'm just going to go around there as well, but not too chunky, just to finish that off. So I'll go around, and I'll go around the whole thing, both front and back. Alright, so I've painted around all the edges, just softens the edges a little bit. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'll put that to the side. The next thing I want to do is just get a little bit of tape. I'm just using washi tape because it's good to use what we've got. And I'm just going to put it across there and there. And I'm going to put it on all of them, all of these, where the base, where it holds the candle, there, there and there. And then I'm going to, then I'll come. Okay, so now that they're all taped off, and I've wrapped it around so they're taped off on both sides, but we're only doing one side at a time, I am going to silver leaf this part of the candelabra on each of the candle holders, and I'm using the lovely silver faux silver leafing from bbcraft.com. And because this is not a valuable antique, it's just a crafting project, I can go ahead and use my tacky glue, and it will hold just fine. It will dry quite quickly, and the finish will have a kind of almost a vintage type of look, which is really nice. So I'm going to put glue on 2 of those to start with and just spread it around. I don't want it on the sides, I only want it on the front and the back, so I'm being careful not to get it on the side part. Okay, and then do this one. And it's important when you're using this silver leafing that you don't have a fan on, or there's no strong breezes blowing through the windows or anything like that. Don't go breathing too heavily around it either, because it will blow everywhere. And I've got this fan brush, and I found that's an easy way for me to pick up my silver leafing. Let me just show you, just like that. Finding where I want to place it, and just place it on top, like so. I've got a little bit of wax paper here. I'm just going to put that over the top and press down on it just so it sticks to that glue and it doesn't stick to my fingers. Remove that, and I'm going to leave that to dry properly, and I'm going to do the same thing here. And if you've got like little pieces, like that was a larger piece, but this is a small piece, I can put that smaller piece on like that. And I just purposely broke a little bit off there. Put that one on, put that one on. So if you have pieces you rip off, you can use those as well. Just showing you how that one will turn out once it's done. Don't want it sticking to the brush. Let's get that on. Give it a little bit of a press. Like that. And I will go ahead and do all of these on one side, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm quite sure that's dry now. What I have is I've got myself a box here, and I'm just going to I'll put it there. I don't normally put it here on the desk, but so you can see. I'm going to put it here because I don't want silver leafing all over my room. Then I'm just going to go in and give it a brush. You may find some places you might have a little gap. I notice there's a little gap there. So when I'm finished, what I'll do is I'll just go back and I will apply another little bit of glue there and another bit of silver leafing. I can use something like that and reapply it to that section. And it doesn't take long to dry, so that's not a problem. And if you get any on the sides, you know, you can just get your nail and scratch it off a little bit. It comes off very easily because it comes off easily when there's no glue under there. So it looks like it's stuck, but it's not actually glued on. And just do this very gently. You could do this with a cloth as well. I quite enjoy doing it with the little brush. It gives my little brush a purpose. Oops. Once you've done it all, you can just get your wax paper again and just press down nice and firm, and it's quite nice. It really does feel nice. It looks nice. It's got a vintage type of look to it because it's not perfect. But that's, you see what that looks like? It's really quite nice. And I'm going to go ahead and finish these off and then repeat the same thing. I might leave it just 10 minutes or so to just ensure that this is completely dry. And do the exact same thing on the opposite side of the candelabra. I forgot to mention also that I want to do the flames in the leafing as well. So I'm just going to do the same thing with the flame. Put a dot of glue. I can do on each. It'd be best if I open the glue, wouldn't it? Don't want to put too much on though, because then it takes longer to dry. And if if it's your summer, probably best to choose a cooler day to do this so you don't have to have a fan blowing or much air movement in the room. Today isn't too bad, so I can have the fan off for a little while. But if it, like a couple of days ago, it was really, really hot, and it would not have been a good day because I needed the fan on all the time. Alright, so the same sort of method for this. Just put the glue on. Tacky glue does go tacky very quickly. Oops. Let's get ourselves a sheet to the top. And you can handle it to a certain degree. Like, you can't handle it too much, but you can, you know, hold it very gently, which is quite useful. Oops. I just missed a little bit there. Just make sure you've got no glue or anything like that on your fingers when you're doing this as well. Whoops. Little breeze through the window. Okay. Alright, so oops, we've missed one here. And when you overlap them, once it's dried and you brush the excess away, you will probably never notice that they're joined pieces. And if you get a crackling effect, then it just kind of adds to that vintage look. Whoops, I shouldn't have done that, should I? I'm going to let that dry now and then brush off the excess, and I'll be back. Alright. So I'm just patching up that little bit there on that one, but that's okay, we can still go ahead with what I want to do next. Now, BB Craft also sent me these lovely, like, cabochon frames. I'll put the correct name for them on the video, so you know. And I thought I would use a couple of these on here by putting one there and one there, I think, like that. There. So the first thing I need to do is just take off the little hanger at the top there, and these are a metal alloy, so they're quite easy to trim up like that. Let's just make sure I haven't got any sharp edges, and that way we can put that like that. And the same for the small one. There we go. Where did that go? Here. Get rid of that. And I'll put that one up there. They also come with the little glass domes that go over the top like that, so I want to put something under there. Because these are flat bottomed, I need a flat picture or something to go in there. I need something very flat. You could put a dried flower in it if you wanted to, something like that. But I'm going to put an image, and what I've decided to put in there is a cross image. But I need to have this size here to cut it out. So all I'm going to do is get a piece of paper, put it over the top, and then just kind of press into that groove there with my thumb, keeping it nice and straight, just so I have an idea of the size to cut out to put in there, like that. And then also the same thing for the smaller one. So I'm basically just rubbing the image so it leaves an indent, so I know what size I need my image. Can you see that? So I'll just put those to side, and then I just need to, I want to cut that circle out like that. And I've gone ahead and done that already. I did it on a different piece of paper before, and these are my two little circles, but that's not the part I decided to use. Where is the part I decided to use? Oh, here it is. This is the part I decided to use. I used this, and I'll just trim that up a bit. To put that over here a moment. And now I have some images here that I just made in Photoshop. I have gone over it with a clear gesso so that the ink doesn't run or anything like that, or hopefully the ink won't run. And what I've done, you can see, I have put that over there and traced around. Did I do that? Or, actually, this is what I did. I'm so sorry. I put the little one over, like that, and I traced around the little one. I found that that one ended up a bit too small, and so I traced around the small one, and I also traced around the large one as well. And so I have a line to go by now, and I can go ahead and cut those out to fit into these, the cabochon frames. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those out, and then I'll be back. Alright, so they're cut out, and now I'm just going to get a glue and glue those on. With my images, I also put a dot of stickles, Kinderglitz actually, antique silver, just to give it a little bit of sparkle. I went with stars because I don't really do Santa or anything like that, and I wanted it to match other things I've made for Christmas over the years, and so I stuck with something almost plain. And I'm just using fabric glue because it seems to work for most things. It's quite a good strong glue, and it dries fairly quickly, so, and you don't need a lot of that. And put that in, and don't want to press it too hard, just gently making sure my image is straight. I don't want to crook it. So that's that one. And then, whoops, this is this one. And I'm going to let those dry. And there might be a little bit showing on the side there, but when you actually get the little glass on, it isn't noticeable at all, so that's a nice thing, isn't it? I'll let those dry before I need to put these on, and I'll go ahead and cut out 2 more because I also want them on the reverse side of the candelabra. So they seem to be dry now, so I'm just going to be gluing those in place onto my candelabra. And this one here. And I'm not going to put the glass on just yet, because there's something else I want to do to them before I put the glass on. This one, I want to make sure the cut edge is to the top there. And I need to get the glue around the edge of this because it's actually going over that hole. So, here. Alright, and I'm going to let that dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to flip it over and put it on the other side as well. Actually, while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and put some of these beautiful sparkly stickers. Aren't they lovely? They look really pretty out of that plastic. Look how sparkly they are. They're in 4 different sizes on here, so I'm going to put 4 different little jewels up the center of each of the flames as well, and they stick quite nicely. This is the time when I really wish I had one of those gem picker-upper things. I don't know what they're called, but they're for moving gems around. Now I have to be careful because I'm looking at it on an angle and I don't want it to be on an angle. So, okay, I might need to put it like that just so I can make sure I'm putting it in a straight line. That's the next one there. So if I can just get it on the end of my nail and put it on, it seems to be the way to do it. Unless you have a tool to do it with. And that just adds a bit of sparkle to the flame. And tiny one. Up the top there. So I hope the lighting is picking that up, and I hope that's not too crooked. Looks alright. See? That's what they look like. So when the light catches it, it's got a bit of a sparkle. And I will go ahead and put it on all the flames while these are drying. That's all done now. So we have our little gemstones from BB Craft. Very, very nice. On our flames we have our lovely silver leafing. We have our cabochon frames, and we'll put the glass on later. And now we're going to do some decorating with the lovely 4mm rhinestone chain, and this one is in silver. And so now I want to measure. I just cut the end one off. And I want to measure from there to there. So I'm going to cut it there. I'm going to put that going up like that. And I'm going to put another piece going from here to here. Okay, so that will go from there to there. I don't want it going above the silver here. And then I want to measure it from here, going up, around, down to there. To there. So that will go like that. Of course, that'll be straight in the middle, like that, like that. You know what I mean. It's a bit hard when you're not gluing it. It doesn't want to stay there. And then I'm also going to have a piece going from here over to here. Then I'll cut it. And a piece going from here up to this silver part here and cut it. Okay, and I'm going to glue all those on place, and I'm going to do the same for this side as well, exactly how I've done this side. And like this piece here will go, it's much easier to measure these once they're glued on. One part might be glued on. It will be like, I will cut that there. So that will go like that. Like that. I could even add, I've got a spare one over here, I think. I could even add a little extra one on the end. Perhaps I cut that one a bit too. Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to tell until I glue this center one on so it doesn't move around. And then I'll cut another one to go up there. Exactly the same on this side and glue it on. Once it's completely dry, I'll flip it over and do exactly the same thing on the other side. And then I'll be back. And then once you've glued your, some of the glue is still drying, once you've glued your rhinestone chain around all the candle stems, cut some rhinestone to go across the top of the base of the candle holder, and also another piece to go like that. So it goes like that and like that, just to add like a finishing touch to the top of the candle holder part. And then you've got your candle. So just cut those for each of these and glue those on. So now that we've finished all of the lovely rhinestone chain work, I'm going to attach the glass over the top of the metal pieces here. And to do that, I would probably normally use a glossy accents, but because my images are not photocopied, are printed, and my printer's not a great printer. The ink will probably run because it's going to be sat there quite a while drying. So once again, I'm just going to use my fabric glue and hope that it doesn't run too much, and just make a nice smooth kind of surface for the glue. And cross my fingers that that will work right. That will work nicely. I'll just need my other glasses on so I can see what I'm doing properly. And I won't put too much on. Just like that. It's hot weather, it's a bit stringy at the moment. Put that on. Press it down to get all the air out, so it's got a nice even finish to it. So I'm just applying a bit of pressure on there. Make sure it's on there straight. Okay, now I'll do the other one, and we're almost finished. Okay, I'm going to leave that to dry. And then the last thing I'm going to do is take the little stand piece, put a bead of glue down the side of it, and attach some more of the beautiful rhinestone trim down the center of that. Just lay it on there gently and then push it into the grooves as far as you can. Once it's on there, you just have to make sure you're not going over that little gap there, because obviously that has to go attached to the other piece. Straighten it up. Have to be careful, the shadows make it appear like it's in the center sometimes, and it's not. Decorations like this are more a distance thing as well. You know, they sit on a shelf somewhere and you're not seeing them that much up close, so small errors are quite alright. There we go, I think that's alright. Looks alright from my angle anyway. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll be finished. That's all done. As you can see, they turned out quite alright with the fabric glue under them. Just let me show you, originally I did put the, what is it called? Glossy accents under it, and I think because it took such a long time to dry, it made all the ink run, so I had to prise those off and use the fabric glue, and that worked much better because it dried a lot quicker, so it didn't have time to make the ink run. So that will work fine. And I have put a couple of little holes here and here very carefully, because I thought what I would do was to hang some of the beautiful crystal drops from there that BB Craft have previously sent me. Maybe not that long. I'm thinking there, just to have one drop and one crystal, but to have it perhaps hanging that way so that it doesn't bang into this. And that was pretty much the only place I could hang it. I've still got a little bit of wood there. That'll come up when I stand it up. The way I made the holes was I have this little drill, and this is actually, you know, the ink replacements you can buy, the little tubes to refill your ink cartridges. And I don't know if you still do it, but you used to get a little drill like this in the packet so that you could drill a little hole in the ink cartridge, and that worked fine. All I did was drill it halfway through, then flip it over and drill it halfway through the other side, so I didn't blow all the wood out on the outside. And all I'm doing now is just painting it a little bit, because I don't want to see that wood, the wood colour coming through on there. And same here, see how you can see a little bit of wood there? I really don't want to see that, so I'm just going over that with a little bit of the white paint, and that should be alright. So I will hang those on now. As it turned out, when they were hanging this way, they don't touch that centerpiece, so I left them that way. I've got my little leg to go on now with all its little rhinestones going down, and now I'm going to put it in very carefully. I don't want to force it in any way. That would be okay. So carefully just slide it down until it's nice and level at the bottom, and that's all level, and that fits in there really nicely. And I would say it's done. So I hope you enjoyed that how-to video, and like I said, you may not be able to get this exact MDF candelabra, but you can use this method to decorate other kinds of cut-out MDF pieces. So take care, everybody, and thank you for watching. And thank you so much, BB Craft, for all these gorgeous decorative products that you sent me. Bye-bye.